All right, Lordcana Kingdom, it is time. It is time. Welcome again. Glad to see everybody, or hope everybody's getting a chance to tune in. Been having a lot of fun this week. Finally getting the opportunity to really dig in on some more quality content and getting to kind of talk to you guys and follow up on some stuff. Nevertheless, we are just finished with the third week of set championships now. I know that I've gotten to do maybe some tournament reports on some other videos. If I haven't uploaded those yet, then they will be uploaded here very shortly. So, me and the guys, all in all, so far, I've had an eighth. I've had or a seventh or eighth place, whatever it was. We didn't get to play top cut, so it didn't really matter. I got a ninth place in a best of two format, and then this past weekend just got a second place in the each one. So I played Blue Steel for the eighth place and the ninth place, and then ended up playing Purple Jafar for that second place, and as well got to take home a 10K or a 1K about a month ago or so. I got second or third at that as well. I can't remember off the top of my head. I should have the deck profile whenever it happened, but all that stuff's on Melee and online, guys, to be able to check out for our tournament reports. Keith and Troy, they both ended up taking first place at one set championship apiece, and then I believe Keith has taken home 4 other top 8s, with Troy taking home, I believe, 2 other top 8s, if I'm not mistaken. So with all that being said, guys, the Lordcana team we've just been having a blast getting to play. We're still getting tested, occasionally whenever we get the time away from work, and it's been really good just getting to enjoy the game as a whole and getting to play around. But something for me that I've always kind of prided myself on was getting to really just do theory crafting and play around with new decks, new archetypes. That's one of my favorite things to do in any card game. We kind of traditionally come from Yu-Gi-Oh and Magic. And there's a ton of creativity in those games. Don't get me wrong, Yu-Gi-Oh meta can be a little can put you on lockdown sometimes, but one thing that I really pride myself on from just knowing prior games or learning prior games is really learning how to break down a format and target certain problem areas and learning how to counter those the most efficiently, right? So whether it be that you're looking for the best counters or you're just looking for new lines of tempo, right? I also played Hearthstone very heavily in the past, and one of the number one things in Hearthstone is it is a very heavily curve-oriented game in a lot of situations, and so I really take a lot of my past experience and try to implement that into how new of a game Disney Lorcana is as a whole. And one of my newest creations, or one of my decks I've just kind of been working on slowly. I don't think it's anywhere near complete, but I have had have had a couple of you guys already request a deck list for it, and I had some other friends who had actually were asking me about the deck as well. So without further ado, guys, let's jump into it, and let's see if Hiro can be your hero. All right. So, starting us out, of course, how could you have a Hiro deck without playing the man, the myth, the legend himself? So, this is from set 7. I know you guys this is the set champ promo card as well, of course, which we do got a couple sitting in the box. I should probably put them in the deck. But like I said, this is more for theory crafting. So, up front, this card is pretty straightforward. It has a shift 5 onto any other Hiro, of course, and it just simply says your Floodborn characters with a character up under them or with a card under them gain evasive and ward. Those are 2 awesome typings. Essentially makes it to where they're relatively unkillable. I do know that, of course, evasives have gotten more and more prominent in the metagame, so that has caused a little bit of a hiccup in my personal development with this deck. I definitely started to kind of shy away from even to continue testing this deck after Yago became such a prominent feature in the meta. But with that being said, we persevere, we continue testing, we continue working on some new ideas, and there's always answers for those problematic cards out there. But In general, I love the way that this card operates. One important piece of information is that you can just play this on turn 7 by itself and give two other Floodborn or two other characters that have already shifted evasive and ward on the board, right? So that's pretty cool as a whole. Awesome card. I like the artwork on it, and I just thought it was gonna be one of my favorite cards for the set, and it has turned out to be. So of course you can't have Big Hiro without Little Hiro. Little Hiro, I actually really like this card. First of all, 3-drop inkable, and it's a 3/3. That's a solid stat line right there. It's what you need to be matching up with Pete's right now, correct? So nothing wrong with this card whatsoever in terms of the statting and the typing. Dropping down into the effect, whenever you play a Floodborn character on this card, you draw a card. So it's essentially a replacement effect. You play it on turn 3, shift on it on turn 5, or you can shift on it on turn 4 and replace your Baymax. So traditionally now, shifting a 5/5 on top of a 3/3 is not a great value play. Your Baymax dies, in a turn or two, whether it just be by a challenge or whatever the case may be, and you're really losing 2 cards or 2 turns for the price of just a singular 5/5. So where this deck really comes into play at is that, or where Baymax really comes into play at, is the fact that I'm kind of abusing some of the removal system for the game. So don't focus so much on Baymax just being a 5/5 body that comes in on turn 4 and tries to do some stuff, right? We really tried to build the deck to make sure that we're not just wasting a 5/5, we're not just playing a 5/5 for fun. There's actual developmental purposes behind playing the Baymax. And so finally, for the last little bit of the shift package that we're going to be bringing out, played 4 babies and 3 bigs on the Pegasus package. So Pegasus being able to shift on turn 3 opens up some different lines of play for the deck. I really needed a 1-drop in the deck. I do personally think that the Clarabelle package is worth looking into. I don't have big Clarabelles personally right now, so that's why I've just been testing and messing around with this deck. I know a lot of the blue-green list have been migrating or are playing Clarabelle, the big Clarabelle, even if they're not playing little Clarabelle. But this deck is really kind of on a different wavelength than a lot of the other blue-green lists that have been getting popularized here in the past couple of weeks. Finally, I did forget the man, the myth, the legend here. So Morph, I do play 2 Morph in the deck. This just is basically 2 extra Hyros or 2 extra Pegasus, right? So it just kind of meshes up with the overall curve of the deck well. Play your Pegasus turn 1, your Morph on turn 2, your Hyro on turn 3. Now you have 3 shiftable bodies right there. I really like that personally, and that is one particular play style for the deck. Now, moving forward from the shift lines of the deck is where we kind of get into what I think a lot of people are really liking about the deck, and that's going to be this is my curve, if you will, my true curve, and what I am really looking to accomplish with the deck. I've really enjoyed over time playing Chicha. So Chicha, for those of you who aren't familiar, first and foremost, card gives support, so whenever it quests, it gives its attack to another character, and then beyond that, during your turn, whenever you ink the second card in your inkwell for the turn, you may draw a card. So what does that really mean for us, though? Because that's not really doing anything with our shift package necessarily. So one thing that I've really enjoyed in the game since early inception, or at least since, inception of the Chicha and some other red-blue deck list, maybe a couple of blue-steel deck list, has been being able to go turn 2, Chicha, turn 3, ink a card, play your Mickey, so you're going to get to ink an additional card for the Mickey and then draw a card, which is an awesome turn in my opinion. That's going to put you on 4 ink for your following turn, and then all you have to do, you'll ink 1 for turn, and then play your Donald for turn 5, right? And then that's going to ink you an additional card as well, going to put you up to 6 ink, and you got to draw an additional card for the Chicha as well, essentially 1 turn away from being on turn 7, right? So Turn 7 can be a very prominent turn, especially in a deck like this if tailored correctly. So to kind of talk about why we did some of this the way that I did, it really is going to come back to the removal. I love We Don't Talk About Bruno. I think it is one of the best cards in the game, and I've just continued to look for ways to abuse this card. In this particular deck, I thought it would be really interesting to try and see about, what about having access to Bruno on turn 3, right? What about having access to Singa Bruno on turn 4? Those are the things that I was really looking at. And whenever you start getting into playing, you're shifting a 6-drop, you're shifting a 5-drop, maybe even playing a 5-drop a couple turns early. Why not play as much removal as possible at that 5-drop slot just to be able to keep some insane tempo going? Now, that was my initial thoughts. And to cap off the removal piece, the real reason why I wanted to play this shift deck so heavily, I love the idea of being able to sing Under the Sea early. Right, so you have your 1, 2, 3 play, you shift your Baymax, he's a 6-cost card, all you got to do is then sing your Under the Sea with a 2-drop. You play the Pegasus, right, shift the Pegasus maybe on turn 3, or maybe you hold it for turn 4 after playing a 3-drop, and then all it's going to take is the Pegasus plus your 1 and 2, or plus your 3-drop that you played on turn 3. Under the Sea is an incredible card right now, especially for Chernadog, Amber Steel, and probably maybe another 1 or 2 matchups I might be missing right off the top of my head. As you guys saw in some of just the fun matches or our locals match, Under the Sea was incredible against Emerald Steel, and honestly not that bad against Purple Steel either, just in the particular situation that we were in. So overall, incredible removal package. You have the ability to remove wide and to remove the single targets. Bruno is a hell of a tempo card. Finaling out our removal package is going to be Bend to My Will. You could probably play 2 of this card just because of the way that you're designing the ramp package to end you on turn 7 anyways. Obviously, it does require you to actually draw this ramp package. That's why I'm not going or I'm not diving super heavy into the Bend to My Will. But through testing, this card was incredible, so I can't knock it whatsoever. Finally out from there, some of the tool cards for the deck. I do play 3 Ursula Deceiver, 3 Visions, so this is sort of your early game. This is more of your late game, kind of dig around. This card, for what it's worth, is awesome to be able to play on turn 2, rip a card from your opponent's hand, and then shift on top of it with the Baymax, making it into a 5/5 in just a turn or 2. I do really like that play as a whole. And then furthermore than that, you play Tutala. So the Tutala, there's just not a lot going in on the 4-drop slots in this deck. The only other card in the 4-drop slot is actually a couple of locations. So I'm opting for 1 Fang double McDuck. This was more so just for testing purposes. Obviously, we all know McDuck is an incredibly strong card, very hard to kill. I really just wanted to test out Fang, though. I like this card a lot. I've liked it a lot in the past. I think that, being able to play this and just simply give a character or 2, like a Baymax, Evasive, and Ward for a turn while they struggle to kill the Fang, can sometimes just set you up in a position that you need to be in. So it's really just theory on those cards, but just wanted to test them, get some variety in there. And then finally, to cap off the deck, 2 Ink Geyser. Ink Geyser is sort of the entire purpose for playing the deck. However, it is uninkable, and you definitely do not want to brick on that card. But generally speaking, it's really cool that you are almost always going to outpace your opponent in terms of inking for the first 4 or 5 turns. So you see yourself kind of developing with your ramp package, going Mickey, Donnie, and then being able to play something on turn 7, and then let's say turn 8. Maybe you're getting, or turn 8 or turn 9, you're getting a little bit lower on resources. Your opponent is just now catching up to turn 5, and then you're able to just Ink Geyser, grab back all those resources that these cards put into your inkwell essentially for free, and that was the whole gist for the deck. I mean, that was the basis that I really wanted to play with. I know some other people have been playing some very heavy song variants, or laying heavy onto the item package with Coil. And I don't think there's anything wrong with those decks. I've gotten to test like the Oswald deck a decent bit, and I had some pretty cool ideas with those decks as well. But at the end of the day, I found it very difficult to win with those decks unless you were just like getting lucky with a dime, lucky dime. But that was trash. Sorry. In general, it was very difficult to win with this deck in all seriousness in the other forms that I've played so far. So with that being said, this deck keeps up solid tempo. Quest has some pretty solid questers, play some locations, play some good removal. And at the end of the day, you just get to play a Hiro. And sometimes a Hiro by itself will just win you the game. With all that being said, guys, it's been a really fun deck to play. It's a deck that revolves around advantage. I think this is a good cheap deck. If anybody is looking to just like get started up in the game, hell, jam this for a couple of weeks or whatever. It seriously, I don't even think there's a super rare. Is there a super rare in the deck? What is Hiro? Hiro. So Hiro is like the only super rare I think in the entire deck. So yeah, guys, why you should have this built just to have it built for fun, honestly. I mean, that's all I'm doing with it. I guess Bendema will is super also. They don't cost anything though, I don't think. So either way, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. I'm glad so many people requested this deck list. I love playing it. It's just a fun deck, guys. So hopefully maybe we'll put out some tournament results with it in the next few weeks after we get to play around with it a little more. I will give you a fair warning. The one thing I've realized so far is maybe a little bit of a lack of draw power in the late game, so maybe that's where you play your Clarabelle. But that's all up to some more testing. Either way, Lorcana Kingdom, hope you guys enjoy it, and make sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and drop a comment if there's anything else that you're interested in seeing, and I look forward to talking to you guys more soon. See you.